State's most watched news starts now.
Good Friday morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News where it's 5 o'clock. I am not Tanya Bach. No, I'm Michael Hayslett. Let's go to the Skywatch Storm Tracker where we've got rain that's fallen down, and not only that, we've got a good amount that's coming down in southwest Missouri as opposed to what we had yesterday throughout southeast Kansas. And of course, we still do have our flood warnings in effect for Neosho, Allen, and Labette counties as the rain is pouring. And hey, Tanya, guess what we've got?
More rain?
No.
Joplin Skycam.
7th Race Line.
Oh, wow.
We're back. We're back.
Nice.
That's right. There it is. That's a live look from 7th and Range Line in Joplin. Thanks in part to our great engineering crew for everything that they do and getting us back up and rolling on 7th and Range Line in Joplin, a site that we're going to be bringing to you now each and every morning. So as this rain continues to come down, we'll have temperatures right now that are in the mid 60s, pushing up into the 70s once again. It's kind of a rinse and repeat, but I've got good news on the horizon because as we get into the later morning hours, we do begin to break just a little bit. And once we do and head into the weekend, we can take a deep breath and have temperatures that are going to push into the 80s and actually give us chances for rain that is only in the 20% variety as opposed to the 60 and 70 that we've had past couple of days.
Love it.
We're oh so close to getting through this week.
Just a few more batches of showers.
Give it until 2 p.m.
I say, but it sounds like we'll have a nice dry evening at least. That'll be nice.
Give it until 2 p.m.
Yeah, we need some drying out time.
We're good.
Then I can get my yard mowed again. Maybe next week. It's going to take a little while to dry out, I think. Just a little bit. All right. Well, tomorrow marks the 10th anniversary of the 2011 Joplin tornado. The community will hold a special day of remembrance to honor the lives lost and the city's recovery. It kicks off Saturday morning with the annual memorial run at Cunningham Park. The half marathon race begins at 6:30 in the morning. Later in the evening at 5:15, the city will hold a program to read the 161 names of loved ones who died in the tornado. That's followed by a moment of silence at 5:41, the time the storm struck. The program will feature speeches from former Missouri Governor Jay Nixon, Mayor Ryan Stanley, and other city officials involved with Joplin's recovery. Plans to remember a post-tornado landmark move forward. In 2018, the Spirit Tree, a tribute to the strength and spirit of the community, fell. Shortly after, members of the community started work on a sculpture that would replicate and commemorate the tree. A lot was done until the pandemic hit and other obstacles slowed the process. Now the process is getting ready to start once again.
The Spirit Tree was such a visual impact of inspiration during the One Walk on the 1-year anniversary that I don't want to lose that for our citizens. And as we get older, I want our kids and grandkids to look at that and to hear the story about how we came out of this darkness.
The fundraising efforts will start at the beginning of next year, and Hunt hopes the project will be complete well before the 15th anniversary of the tornado. A special photography exhibit that memorialized the 1-year anniversary of the Joplin tornado makes its return to Joplin Spiva Center for the Arts as the city prepares to commemorate 10 years since the tornado touched down. It's called Dear World, From Joplin with Love, and features photos of Joplin tornado survivors 1 year after the tornado struck, who agreed to share their stories and pose for some uplifting photographs after talking to Spiva Center staff.
We wanted to have an exhibit that wasn't just about the tornado, but more about being on the other side of it and the stories that people have and kind of where we were at a year later.
The Spiva Center for the Arts Dear World, From Joplin with Love photo exhibit opened Thursday and will be on display through the 23rd. And that includes a special Sunday showing from noon to 5 p.m. Joplin police say a man is in the hospital after being struck by a train. It happened around 9 Thursday morning. Authorities say a 42-year-old pedestrian was hit by the train at the intersection of Murphy Boulevard in South Wisconsin. They say the man lost an arm. No word on his condition or why he was on the tracks. A Quapaw, Oklahoma man is convicted of sexually abusing a minor and illegally possessing parts of protected eagles. 57-year-old Ortner Jr. was convicted by a federal jury. Authorities say Ortner falsely portrayed himself as a Native American spiritual counselor in order to sexually abuse several Native American minors. Investigators also say they found feathers and various parts of bald eagles and golden eagles, which were illegally possessed at Ortner's home. Sentencing is scheduled for September 30th. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson confirmed the COVID-19 state of emergency declared last year at the start of the pandemic will expire on Sunday, May 30th. Hutchinson says the focus now is on the state's vaccination campaign. The state is spending $6.4 million in an ad campaign to encourage Arkansans to get vaccinated against the virus. In addition, Arkansas is spending $2 million for a minority ad campaign that targets particular groups with specific messages.
It is important to understand that we are still in a pandemic. The fact that I am ending the declaration of a public health emergency does not change the fact that we still have the COVID-19 virus in our community. It does not change the fact that our public health system has to continue to deal with it. It doesn't change the fact that we need to continue to get vaccinations out.
More than 36% of Arkansas residents 12 and older have been fully vaccinated, and that's according to the Arkansas Department of Health. Governor Hutchinson has set a goal to get 50% of Arkansans vaccinated by July. The Ottawa County Farmers Market kicks off its 6th season at the Miami Fairgrounds. Event coordinators say the purpose of the Farmers Market is to increase access to healthier options across the county. To achieve this, they say they accept SNAP and use the event to educate attendees. Along with giving the area better access to nutrition, the Farmers Market also offered free COVID-19 vaccines. They say bringing vaccines to an event promoting health makes it easier for people to access the shot.
We've got either Northeastern Tribal Health Systems or the Ottawa County Health Department here, and they're hoping that on week 1 somebody will get a vaccine, and then on week 4 they can get their second dose, and they didn't have to go anywhere or do anything special except come and get their veggies like they normally do each week.
The Northeastern Tribal Health System administered shots and says by giving vaccines outside of a normal healthcare setting, they hope to reach more members of the community. It's 5:07.
We got rain coming down in southwest Missouri. We have new lightning, and luckily everybody that got the majority of the rain yesterday gets to stay dry. I know that's of no solace of everybody on the eastern edge of our counties. Now we have temperatures that are in the high 60s already, and we'll be up into the high 70s later on. Once again, the rain just keeps on coming through, more so on the eastern edge of the 4 states than the western side like yesterday. And not going to get a break until probably, let's go 1, 2 o'clock. I'll buy that one, 1, 2 o'clock.
We can hold out. We can do it. As long as it stops by the time my weekend starts, Michael. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, large vaccine gaps have health officials concerned.
Vaccine gaps could be threatening our ability to end the pandemic. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on which states are near the top and which are close to the bottom when it comes to vaccinating their populations. That's coming up.
Plus, the Gorillas hit the field against Central Missouri in the semifinals of the MIAA Baseball Conference Tournament. We'll have highlights. And some investment groups are allowing teenagers to trade stocks. What parents should know before letting their teens get involved in the stock market. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh State Gorillas in the semifinals of the MIAA Baseball Conference Tournament. The Gorillas hit the field against Central Missouri. Now, Central Mo, number 1 seed in the bracket, and Central swept 3 games from Pitt State in the regular season. Gorillas in the top of the first. They do get going early. Garrett McGowan, gapper in left. Ryan Koval scores from second. We're going to make it 1-0 right now. But trailing in the fourth with 2 outs, until Cruz Aranda takes first pitch and singles to right. There's Caleb Carr coming in for the tying run. All right, we're knotted up, bottom of the inning. Scott Wolverton for Central Missouri in the left center. Here comes Donovan DeVito, that breaks the tie. 8-4 Central Mo in the sixth. But Aranda comes up with his second RBI of the day. Here comes Blaine Ohlmeyer. But that would be the last run that Pittsburgh State would score as the Gorillas fall 9-5.
Early on in the game, we just didn't do some little things that kind of got us in trouble. We had something go bad, and it kind of tumbled on us, but we found our feet and got back in it and had ourselves a chance and just didn't get it done. But you're 40-some games into it. Those things can't happen to beat a really good team, and we didn't do enough little things to have a chance to really win today.
Joplin was playing for a district title last night on the high school baseball field against Republic. That would be the Class 6 District 6 championship, but it is the Republic Tigers that win it 13-3. Congratulations to the Eagles, though. Coach Kyle over there doing a wonderful job as they end the season with a 20-11 overall record. Yesterday was championship day at 3A Regional Softball Tournament in Southeast Kansas. Got those two semifinal games before we get to the championship. So up first, tournament host and number 1 seed Frontenac taking on Girard. Frontenac defense was very good. Watch Raven Warren right here. This girl was gobbling up balls every time it was hit to her. Little 5-4-3 to Annie Lee to Hattie Pyle. Remember that name, Hattie Pyle. In the sixth, Abby Beeman, go get you some. She went oppo with a runner on. That put the Raiders up 3-0 with Beeman's blast. Final inning, Alexis Jenkins, no joke, off the top of the wall. Jenkins put a load into that one. A 2-run shot gets Girard within 1, but Mia Brown locks it down in the circle, holds on. Frontenac wins it 3-2. Other side of the bracket, 2 more teams matching up. Columbus taking on Galena. Maddie Freeman. Yeah, she did. She delivers in the third, up the middle. Love that kid right there. Bulldogs get 3 in the inning. Next inning, Riley McNeamer, line driver to center. Here comes Mia Sarwinski. 3 more for Galena in the fourth. Maddie Cole. Yeah, you did. Man, I had such a great time around Maddie Cole. Complete game shutout for Maddie. Galena moves on to the championship, 6-0 over Columbus. So here we go. Galena Frontenac. Winner goes to the state tournament. It's as easy as that. Have a day, Hattie Pyle. Have a day. Get up, get out, get something. Frontenac gets 5 in the first inning. Pyle with a 3-run shot. Up 7-0 in the third. Pyle to the right side. 2 come in to score. Hattie with a triple. Who's that number 11? What's she doing? Hattie Pyle. This is one of the hardest balls I've seen hit all year, folks. Yeah, that just happened. Hattie Pyle went 3 for 3, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Hattie Pyle, you get you some, kid. Raiders are headed to state, beating Galena 12-0. Hey, I do want to point this part out too. And yeah, you have to remember they're to the age now where I've known some of these kids since they were little. And I apologize, I don't know all of you, but I've had the chance to meet a lot of you. Hattie Pyle is one of those kids that she's a great great softball player. You know what? She's an excellent person. Love you, Hat. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, a starting point for peace.
Welcome news out of the Middle East, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. I'm Laura Podesta with details on why this truce is being called fragile.
And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Meteorologist
Runner. About 20 minutes past the top of the hour, and as we zoom in on the Skywatch storm tracker, we're actually going to take it geographically, our rain that is, and flip it to the other side of the map compared to what we had yesterday, as we now see it over portions of southwest Missouri. Not a whole lot happening, minus the far western portion of southeast Kansas. Now, we do have this one right here along Highway 400 in Fredonia. Then as you track off into southwest Missouri, we're starting to see it pick up along 49 and 44. Of course, those were our two thoroughfares that managed to stay clean yesterday, and we'll have more that comes up from Arkansas and continues to work its way through. Really, we got one more day. We can get through this for one more day. We're going to be good. Still got flood watches in effect for the Neosho River and for the Marmonton Osage and Little Osage, running all the way into the weekend as we take a look at our current accumulation numbers, and we've seen anywhere from about 4 to 6 inches in these pockets that turn into the orange and into the purple right there. Temperature's not too bad though. We're in the, we even got some 70s showing up right now in Chanute and Welch. Those just bumped up. So it's very comfortable. Just, you know, you're out in southwest Missouri, you just got to try to stay dry, quite frankly. Here's what we got for future track. Continues to move in from the south. We are going to break this afternoon. That's right. We are actually going to have some time periods where we don't have rain. Don't know what we'll do with ourselves. And then we can head into the weekend, take those chances, knock them back down to 40 and 20% on Saturday and Sunday, dry out, and actually enjoy some nice late May weather. All right, time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. Fidelity joins a growing list of companies and investment groups allowing teens to trade stocks for free. Now, it's a move that comes as more young people enter the stock market, and Congress is scrutinizing investment apps and their business models. Mandy Gaither, she's got a story I'm going to revisit later. We're not going to take it yet because what we're going to do is save ourselves on the clock, and we're going to talk about the KOAM News Now Instapoll. Our something to talk about this morning, we're asking you, should teens be able to trade on the stock market? Now specifically, remember, we're asking, should teenagers be able to trade on the stock market? And you can take part in our Instapoll. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Of course, we'll have your results as we get through the show, and you can always log on to our Facebook page as well. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the demand for vaccines continues to dwindle across the country as health officials fear some states are not doing enough to get more shots into people's arms. Kevin Cork has more on which parts of the country are leading the vaccine charge and which states are falling behind.
The latest data from the CDC shows large gaps in the rate of vaccinations across the country as the Northeast is far outpacing the South. Vermont, for example, taking the top spot for vaccinating roughly 64% of its population, with Massachusetts coming in second place, followed by Hawaii, New Hampshire, Maine, Connecticut, and Rhode Island.
Getting vaccinated is the fastest and best and easiest way for everybody to get back to what I would call normal.
But much of the South is falling behind, with Mississippi coming in last place, with at least 32% of its population vaccinated. Louisiana, Alabama, Wyoming, Idaho, Tennessee, and Arkansas are all following closely behind with less than 40% inoculated.
We can make COVID deaths rarer and rarer, but we're not there yet, obviously.
The disproportionate rates between the North and South have health officials concerned the virus won't be properly contained. Meanwhile, Arkansas's coronavirus emergency declaration is ending this month. Governor Asa Hutchinson believes the state doesn't need emergency efforts in place to carry out proper COVID-19 safety precautions, even as the state's vaccination efforts are lagging.
The fact that I'm ending the public health emergency should not diminish anyone's intensity on the need to get a vaccination.
Health experts say the main reason for the gaps in vaccinations include political and religious ideologies, as well as disparities in education and income. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Kind of do a little flip of the script, and it's central and eastern portion of 4 states and continues to roll through here as it makes its way out of far east central Oklahoma and then far west central Arkansas. I haven't had
rush to Roper Honda and get paid.
10 years after the Joplin tornado, plans for a symbolic landmark move forward. Plus, a Joplin man loses his arm after being hit by a train, and a jury convicts a Quapaw, Oklahoma man accused of posing as a spiritual counselor to sexually abuse minors.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. You can expect more rain and warmer temps again today and into the weekend. Here's Michael with a first look at your forecast.
Yeah, certainly our temperatures have been nothing to complain about. It's just precipitation. Please get out of here, as we now see it dominating most of southwest Missouri, albeit it's light showers, but at the same point in time, we just need a break from everything. Remember that place between Monette and Mount Vernon right there, kind of the right-hand middle of your screen? They're already sitting on 4 to 6 inches since Monday, and so everything we need to lighten up. As you transition out to the west, we have seen the portion in between Fredonia and Chanute finally begin to break up because that was giving us some very, very heavy rain earlier. The dark green on your left indicates a flood warning for the Neosho River, and that one lasting all the way into the weekend if you work down especially toward the Oswego-Miami gauge. And then up to the north in Vernon County, just on the other side of Nevada, that's a flood warning for the Osage, the Little Osage, and the Marmaton, that one lasting into the weekend as well. Live look outside of Television City, and look what's back. That's right, we're bringing back 7th and Range Line, thanks to our great engineering department who has set this up. We sit at 68 degrees right now. As you can see, the rain falling consistently and the traffic beginning to get out and about. Temperatures today up into the mid-70s, and give it till I'd say 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon, we will finally break in the rain. Chance to dry out this evening, a little bit more tomorrow morning, but then we can calm down headed into the weekend.
A nice calm weekend, that'll be nice. A little bit of a break.
I'm all about calm weekends. I know, you're laughing at me. I'm not kidding. I'm at that point in my life where calm weekends are the best weekends.
Sometimes, yeah.
No, all the times.
People are itching to get out and do something, so it'll be nice for them. All right.
Get off my lawn crew, you with me? I got you.
All right, thanks, Michael. Tomorrow marks the 10th anniversary of the 2011 Joplin tornado. The community will hold a special day of remembrance to honor the lives lost and the city's recovery. It kicks off Saturday morning with the annual memorial run at Cunningham Park. The half marathon race begins at 6:30 in the morning. Later in the evening at 5:15, the city will hold a program to read the 161 names of loved ones who died in the tornado. That's followed by a moment of silence at 5:41, the time the storm struck. The program will feature speeches from former Missouri Governor Jay Nixon, Mayor Ryan Stanley, and other city officials involved with Joplin's recovery. Plans to remember a post-tornado landmark move forward. In 2018, the Spirit Tree, a tribute to the strength and spirit of the community, fell. Shortly after, members of the community worked on a sculpture that would replicate and commemorate the tree. A lot was done until the pandemic hit, and other obstacles slowed the process. And now the process is getting ready to start once again.
The Spirit Tree was such a visual impact of inspiration during the One Walk on the 1-year anniversary that I don't want to lose that for our citizens. And as we get older, I want our kids and grandkids to look at that and to hear the story about how we came out of this darkness.
The fundraising efforts will start at the beginning of next year, and Hunt hopes the project will be complete well before the 15th anniversary of the tornado. Well, after the tornado 10 years ago, many family pets in Joplin went missing. But because of all the recovery efforts, many people didn't have the time or resources to look for them. To help, the ASPCA teamed up with the Joplin Humane Society to reunite pets with their owners. After animals were found, officials with the organizations went to community meetings, put up flyers, and used media to get the word out.
Anything from their life, because it has gone, it's in shambles. And so to know that they now have, some part of their life back is, something that is oftentimes very overwhelming.
Over the course of a month, the organization provided emergency shelter for more than 1,300 animals, reuniting 500 pets with their families and finding new homes for more than 700 other animals. Joplin police say a man is in the hospital after being struck by a train. It happened around 9 Thursday morning. Authorities say a 42-year-old pedestrian was hit by the train at the intersection of Murphy Boulevard and South Wisconsin. They say the man lost an arm. No word on his condition or why he was on the tracks. A Quapaw, Oklahoma man is convicted of sexually abusing a minor and illegally possessing parts of protected eagles. 57-year-old Ortner Jr. was convicted by a federal jury. Authorities say Ortner falsely portrayed himself as a Native American spiritual counselor in order to sexually abuse several Native American minors. Investigators also say they found feathers and various parts of bald eagles and golden eagles, which were illegally possessed at Ortner's home. Sentencing is scheduled for September 30th. Water rushes out of an Osage County, Oklahoma lake following a breach of the dam. The breach is at the dam on Lake Waxoma near the town of Barnsdall. Area got heavy rain over several days this week. Crews are working on repairing the leak. Officials say there is no imminent danger of a full collapse of the dam. And last weekend, an organization called MORE hosted the Big Iron Overland Rally, a gathering at Big Brutus in West Mineral, Kansas. At the event, Overland campers from all around got together for a weekend of music, food, fun, and education. Thursday, MORE presented a check to Big Brutus Incorporated with some of the profits from the event. Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger is awarding grants to law enforcement K-9 units across the country, including one right here in the 4 states. The Ben Roethlisberger Foundation is at the Giving Back Fund is distributing 15 grants to police and fire K-9 programs. One of those is the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. In total, the foundation is providing more than $90,000 in grants this year, which can be used to establish new K-9 units, replace retiring dogs, buy safety equipment, and pay for training. Sheriff David Grove says his office is excited and honored to receive the grant and that the K-9 unit will be better enabled to keep the community safe. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. A teen is honored by the Wichita Police Department for volunteering to help the homeless. Plus, Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire after days of violent attacks. We'll have the latest there, but first, it's 5:37.
Past couple of mornings, we've been concentrating on rain going through southeast Kansas. This morning, it's through southwest Missouri, but it is another morning full of rain, and we're going to pick up an additional 1/4 to 1/2 inch by the time it's all said and done. Temperatures already close to 70 degrees, pushing up almost 80 by the time we get to the afternoon. Speaking of the afternoon, wait till about 2, 3, 4 o'clock. We'll finally get a break and get a chance to dry out headed into the weekend. We'll be back with World Watch next.
Good morning, I'm Tanya Bach with your KOAM News Update. Joplin police say a man is in the hospital after being struck by a train. It happened around 9 Thursday morning. Authorities say a 42-year-old pedestrian was hit by the train at the intersection of Murphy Boulevard and South Wisconsin. They say the man lost an arm. No word on his condition or why he was on the tracks. A Quapaw, Oklahoma man is convicted of sexually abusing a minor and illegally possessing parts of protected eagles. 57-year-old Ortner Jr. was convicted by a federal jury. Authorities say Ortner falsely portrayed himself as a Native American spiritual counselor in order to sexually abuse several Native American minors. Investigators also say they found feathers and various parts of bald eagles and golden eagles, which were illegally possessed at Ortner's home. Sentencing is scheduled for September 30th. Here's Michael with today's forecast.
Friday morning rain throughout southwest Missouri, everything moving from south to north once again. But as we get a little bit later in the afternoon, we finally get a break. And as we head into the weekend, our temperatures maintain high 70s, low 80s, and rain finally beginning to taper off. And of course, you can find the latest watches and warnings on the Skywatch weather app.
Topping World Watch, a fragile peace is now in place in the Middle East after more than a week of escalating violence between Israel and Hamas. World leaders are hoping to build on that peace if it can last. Laura Podesta reports from New York.
A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas went into effect early this morning. The agreement ended a week-and-a-half-long conflict that left 12 dead in Israel and claimed the lives of at least 230 Palestinians. President Biden welcomed the announcement and said it could serve as a starting point for a lasting peace in the region.
I believe we have a genuine opportunity to make progress, and I'm committed to working for it.
The president said the U.S. would help rearm Israel's Iron Dome, the missile defense system credited with limiting casualties. Mr. Biden also promised to send humanitarian aid to Gaza.
We will do this in full partnership with the Palestinian Authority, not Hamas, Authority, in a manner that does not permit Hamas to simply restock its military arsenal.
Both sides claimed victory despite the lopsided death toll. In Gaza City, Palestinians took to the streets to celebrate the end of the fighting. A statement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hailed the operation against Hamas as significant and unprecedented.
I don't think Israel has achieved much. I mean, there are no agreements about the future, nothing.
The government of Egypt brokered the ceasefire deal. Egyptian diplomats will head to Israel and Gaza to ensure that it's enforced and to work on a more durable solution. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
This round of violence began May 10th when Hamas fighters launched rockets at Israel after weeks of escalating tensions over Ramadan restrictions and evictions in East Jerusalem. A lost village hidden underwater for several decades emerges from a lake in northern Italy. For more than 70 years, Ciaran was submerged underwater after the village of Ciaran was flooded in 1950. When officials decided to build a dam and merge two nearby lakes. Dramatic images show a church bell tower and the remains of Ciaran in Lake Regia. Recently, the lake, which sits along the Austrian-Switzerland border, was drained, so officials can conduct repairs on the reservoir. The location is so famous among tourists and nearby residents, it inspired Netflix to create a series dubbed Ciaran, as well as a book. The long-lost city will not be there for long, though. And in a couple of weeks, the village will be underwater once again as they release water back into the lake. Well, Zoo in England welcomes the addition of a rare red-bellied lemur. The tiny animal weighed 70 grams, or about the size of a banana at birth at the Chester Zoo. The fluffy lemur was born to parents Anna and Frege and is the first of its kind to be born at the zoo. Zookeepers will keep a very close eye on the animal over the next several weeks, as it is currently on the vulnerable to extinction list. So cute. Olympic star Simone Biles is looking to go out with a bang. The 24-year-old gymnast is counting down to the 2021 Summer Olympic Games, 5 years after she won 4 gold medals, and 5 in all at the Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. And now Biles is putting it all on the line once again. We wish you the best. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our something to talk about.
She's got nothing to prove. She could walk in. She's going to win gold, and she'll go down as one of the greatest United States Olympic athletes of all time.
She's definitely got skills. That's
for sure. I mean, yeah, immediately you're going to go Spitz. You're going to throw at me Spitz and Phelps. I understand that when you're talking about having 10 to 12 gold medals. I get that. I'm going to tell you this from a sports perspective. Simone Biles, she's going to go down as one of the greatest U.S. athletes of all time.
No doubt, no doubt.
All right, KOAM News Now Facebook page, morning Insta poll, asking if teens should trade on the stock market, or should they be allowed, I should say, to trade on the stock market. It's a move that Fidelity is making as more teens are entering investments, and Congress is scrutinizing investment apps and their business models. And I find it interesting. Right now, 22% say yes, teens should be able to trade, but 78% clocking in and saying no, teens should not be able to trade on the stock market. Make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this. Good Friday morning. Michael Hayslip with you in the Skywatch Weather Center. Our rain not going to be as consistent or widespread, but it still keeps on moving south to north through the course of our morning hours. Now, we get to afternoon, nighttime. Oh my goodness, we finally get a little bit of a break. We're pushing up into the high 70s, low 80s into the weekend. And of course, any new watches or warnings, you can find those on the Skywatch Weather app.
A remarkably generous student from Wichita is recognized for his community service. Javion Napier, a high school freshman, received an award for his selflessness and hard work in volunteering to help the homeless. Haley Tucker has his story.
This is why you have me dressed up today?
Javion Napier, a South High School freshman, can only be described as an amazing kid.
I'm gonna go put this on the wall.
But one school day, Javion was late to school because he said the bus was late. But what officials at South High didn't know, it wasn't a school bus he was talking about.
Javion has to get up at 6 in the morning, catch a city bus at Lincoln and Woodlawn, go all the way downtown to the transfer station. After being at the transfer station, catches another bus that drops him off over at Dillon's. And if any of those buses are late, he's late to school. So I'm like, man, that really stinks. Then they told me, well, have you heard what else he does? No, what else does he do, guys?
This is what Javion does. He throws burgers, brats, and hot dogs on the grill in his mom's driveway every other Saturday.
I started a program about 3 years ago. I started selling lemonade to help the homeless, and now I start selling hot dogs and hamburgers to help the homeless.
People come and buy Javion's hard-to-miss, deliciously smelling food at his mom's house.
I may stick around and eat some more. It's looking so good.
And what money Javion makes every other Saturday, he takes to the grocery store and buys supplies for the homeless. Javion was awarded an Outstanding Citizens plaque by the Wichita Police Department.
His dad died in a hit and run whenever he was younger. You know, he had to move and then he has to take the bus every morning. At one point I was told he only had one pair of shoes. So with all the things like this that are going on in his life, I wanted something to be positive.
It makes me feel good on the inside because our kids are a small light of us. And so that lets me know I did something right.
And doing right is something Javion hopes to continue.
And you do it in love, not just for the money. You don't ask for nothing. It is if they give you something, put it back in the business and give the rest to the charity like I do.
What a great kid.
I'm here.
Those burgers and
Promise
dogs look
I
pretty
didn't
good
shrink
too.
either. I was sitting down. My bad. I'm dropping scripts. Oh, welcome to live TV, folks.
Taking you behind the scenes there.
It's good stuff right there.
How's the weather looking?
How's the what?
I don't know. Trying to transition.
I got Facebook.
Oh yeah, you got Facebook.
Yeah, I got that. I got that going for me.
You could go with either. It says Weather Center and then Facebook. So there you go.
Well, you know how amped up I get about social media. I didn't even get a laugh out of you right there.
I actually couldn't understand what you said.
I said, you know how amped up I get about social media.
Oh, yes. Be sure to message Michael and tell him how excited you are to hear how excited he is about social media.
We have officially turned this into a casual Friday, you and I have, haven't we? We're just drinking coffee, talking about, what do they call it on the Facebook? Like Twitter, it's direct message. Tate, what do they call that? Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
Is that, the kids still call it that? We do this before the 7 o'clock hour, folks, because we realize our demos right now are you're in the same mindset as me. Like if you look out your blinds and you see somebody on your lawn, you go, get off my lawn right now. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. There you go. Okay. When are the bosses going to call? Don't you show? No, you do not get a chance to shrink in your chair. No. When the bosses call, that means we know that we're having fun on a Friday morning. All right, our question this morning: should teens trade on the stock market? Question comes after Fidelity is a part of a growing list that's allowing teenagers to trade on the stock market and do so for free. But 77% of you say no. No, Michael, that's bad. And you can make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back. I'll update the Skywatch storm tracker. We'll see if Tanya actually melts in that chair right after this. Early morning rain is now throughout southwest Missouri as compared to the past 2 days where it's been through southeast Kansas. So while it continues to roll through during the morning hours, we're going to get some welcome relief here during the afternoon and evening as our temperatures will be up in the high 70s and the rain finally begins to break. We've lost our county-wide flood warnings, but we still do have them along the Neosho, Marmonton, Osage, and Little Osage rivers, and of course, all the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
10 years after the Joplin tornado, plans for a symbolic landmark move forward. Plus, a Joplin man loses his arm after being hit by a train, and a jury convicts a Quapaw, Oklahoma man accused of posing as a spiritual counselor to sexually abuse minors.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. You can expect more rain, at least for the morning hours, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Let's go straight to Michael with a first look at your forecast.
And my goodness, Tanya, we deserve a chance to kind of dry off. But before we get to the afternoon, we've got rain coming down in southwest Missouri. We are avoiding any lightning, but we do have some heavy rain right there in between Mount Vernon and Monette. Last place that we need it with the 4 to 6 inches that were picked up earlier this week and now coming down around Cassville as well. So as you stay out to the west, that's scattered and light, all things considered, but that's bore the brunt here past couple of days. Flood watches and warnings. Let's go with our warnings along the Neosho River, left-hand side of your screen up until Sunday night. Top right-hand portion, that's the Osage, the Little Osage and the Marmonton, with flood warnings running until Sunday morning. Live look outside of Television City, where temperature is not too bad. We're already in the high 60s and able to move up into the high 70s, if not throwing up, may see an 80 later on today. But more importantly, look at what happens this afternoon. Finally beginning to break up. That's going to be some welcome relief right there. Now, all things considered, because we have a tendency to be prisoners of the moment, especially when it comes to our weather realm, and I'm as guilty as anybody else. But at this point in time last year, we actually had 6 more inches of rain than what we do in 2021.
That is
horseshoes, hand grenades, and dry vents.
Yeah. What's that again?
You said yeah.
Well, I was talking over you. What did you say again? I didn't hear it. I can't hear when I'm talking, Michael.
That's okay. I can't hear a period.
It's going to be one of those days. All right. Well, tomorrow marks the 10th anniversary of the 2011 Joplin tornado. The community will hold a special day of remembrance to honor the lives lost and the city's recovery. It kicks off Saturday morning with the annual memorial run at Cunningham Park. The half marathon race begins at 6:30 in the morning. Later in the evening at 5:15, the city will hold a program to read the 161 names of loved ones who died in the tornado. That's followed by a moment of silence at 5:41, the time the storm struck. The program will feature speeches from former Missouri Governor Jay Nixon, Mayor Ryan Stanley, and other city officials involved with Joplin's recovery. Plans to remember a post-tornado landmark move forward. In 2018, the Spirit Tree, a tribute to the strength and spirit of the community, fell. Shortly after, members of the community started work on a sculpture that would replicate and commemorate the tree. A lot was done until the pandemic hit and other obstacles slowed the process. And now the process is getting ready to start once again.
The Spirit Tree was such a visual impact of inspiration during the One Walk on the 1-year anniversary that I don't want to lose that for our citizens. And as we get older, I want our kids and grandkids to look at that and to hear the story about how we came out of this darkness.
The fundraising efforts will start at the beginning of next year, and Hunt hopes the project will be complete well before the 15th anniversary of the tornado. Joplin police say a man is in the hospital after being struck by a train. It happened around 9 Thursday morning. Authorities say a 42-year-old pedestrian was hit by the train at the intersection of Murphy Boulevard and South Wisconsin. They say the man lost an arm. No word on his condition or why he was on the tracks. A Quapah, Oklahoma man is convicted of sexually abusing a minor and illegally possessing parts of protected eagles. 57-year-old Carl Ortner Jr. was convicted by a federal jury. Authorities say Ortner falsely portrayed himself as a Native American spiritual counselor in order to sexually abuse several Native American minors. Investigators also say they found feathers and various parts of bald eagles and golden eagles, which were illegally possessed at Ortner's home. Sentencing is scheduled for September 30th. Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson confirms the COVID-19 state of emergency declared last year at the start of the pandemic will expire on Sunday, May 30th. Hutchinson says the focus now is on the state's vaccination campaign. The state is spending $6.4 million in an ad campaign to encourage Arkansans to get vaccinated against the virus. In addition, Arkansas is spending $2 million for a minority ad campaign that targets particular groups with specific messages.
It is important to understand that we are still in a pandemic. The fact that I am ending the declaration of a public health emergency does not change the fact that we still have the COVID-19 virus in our community. It does not change the fact that our public health system has to continue to deal with it. It doesn't change the fact that we need to continue to get vaccinations out.
More than 36% of Arkansas residents 12 and older have been fully vaccinated. That's according to the Arkansas Department of Health. Governor Hutchinson has set a goal to get 50% of Arkansans vaccinated by July. Water rushes out of an Osage County, Oklahoma lake following a breach of the dam. The breach is at the dam on Lake Waxoma near the town of Barnsdall. Area got heavy rain over several days this week. Crews are working on repairing the leak, and officials say there's no imminent danger of a full collapse of the dam. The Ottawa County Farmers Market kicks off its 6th season at the Miami Fairgrounds. Event coordinators say the purpose of the Farmers Market is to increase access to healthier options across the county. To achieve this, they say they accept SNAP and use the event to educate attendees. Along with giving the area better access to nutrition, the Farmers Market also offered free COVID-19 vaccines. They say bringing vaccines to an event promoting health makes it easier for people to access the shot.
We've got either Northeastern Tribal Health Systems or the Ottawa County Health Department here, and they're hoping that on week 1 somebody will get a vaccine, and then on week 4 they can get their second dose, and they didn't have to go anywhere or do anything special except come and get their veggies like they normally do each week.
The Northeastern Tribal Health System administered shots and says by giving vaccines outside of a normal healthcare setting, they hope to reach more members of the community. 6:07.
Tanya, here's where we're seeing our heaviest rain, right here in between Monette, making its way toward Mount Vernon. And remember, that's the 4 to 6 inches that we got earlier this week. And so that's going to be problematic. And then right here, just staying to the east of us. But if you're going to take I-44 and you have to head towards Springfield this morning, need you to know that that's going to be consistent rain all the way through the Ozarks. Now, as far as future track goes, we are going to be able to lighten up our rain for the afternoon hours. Temperatures just around high 70s, if not 80. So it's going to be a little bit humid out there as well. And this afternoon, we finally get a break from our rain as we head into the weekend.
And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a demand for workers.
As the country reopens, there is major demand for more workers. I'm Malda Rivera in Washington with the challenges that managers are facing and what some companies are doing to hire more employees.
Plus, the recommended age for screening colorectal cancer lowers. What that means for patients. And the story of the Joplin tornado through Cunningham Park. The next 4-state staycation destination is just ahead. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, as the economy starts to heat up, a shortage of workers forces companies to get aggressively creative in their efforts to hire workers. Many companies are raising wages, but one is going a step further. Madeline Rivera has that report.
Like many businesses throughout the country,
Bub and Pops in D.C. is scraping by.
This whole hiring experience is basically keeping our business in standstill.
Owner Joe Taub says they're 3 workers short, and he's been having a hard time finding new employees. He's not alone. One of his vendors tells him
They can't deliver to me anymore because they're short-staffed. They don't have people to drive their trucks.
He says fear of catching COVID-19 is one reason why people haven't come back to work, but he thinks there may be another factor.
Maybe people get so much unemployment they don't need to come back.
President Biden says there's little evidence that unemployment benefits have led to a hiring crunch. Still, many Republicans say
we have a labor crisis in this country.
To attract workers, several businesses like Amazon, McDonald's, and Sheetz are boosting wages. Waste Management, in partnership with Guild Education, is offering educational benefits, including getting a college degree for free. And they're going one step further.
Beginning 2022, we're providing this benefit to the dependents of our employees in the U.S.
They say right now employers need to be competitive.
There is a war on talent, specifically in the drivers and technician space.
So they can not only hire workers, but also keep them.
We are taking it another step. That's going to be a key differentiator.
At least 22 states are ending federal unemployment benefits early over concerns that they're encouraging people to stay at home. Google has plans to open a retail store. The company announced on Thursday it will be opening its first physical retail store in New York City. Google store will be in the same building as the company's office, located in Lower Manhattan, Chelsea neighborhood. Some of the items the store will sell include Pixel phones, Nest products, Fitbit devices, and Pixel books. Like Apple's Genius Bar, the Google store will also have expert employees to help customers with their tech. Tinder is giving its users a chance to rethink a potentially offensive message. In an effort to reduce disrespectful language or conversation on its platform, Tinder is introducing its latest "Are you sure?" feature. The new update asks users, "Are you sure you want to send?" adding, "Think twice. Your match may find this language disrespectful," before a message screened as potentially offensive is received by the person's match. Burger King joins the fast food chicken sandwich war. The burger chain releases the new chicken sandwich in an already crowded market. Burger King's latest sandwich will be served on a potato bun with pickles and sauce. The battle over the best chicken sandwich first began when Popeyes released its chicken sandwich in 2019, and it sold out in 2 weeks. Seeing its success, McDonald's and KFC jumped on the trend, with both fast food joints launching their own versions of a crispy chicken sandwich, while Taco Bell announced the return of a fan favorite, the Naked Chicken Chalupa. That's it from Money Watch. We'll be right back. Topping Health Watch this morning, it's the 3rd leading cause of cancer death. And in recent years, colorectal cancer has affected younger Americans. That's why the recommended age for screening has now been lowered. Mandy Gaither has more on what that means for patients.
It's a troubling trend.
There's been an increasing rate of colon cancer in people under the age of 50.
10.5% of new colorectal cancer cases are in people younger than 50, and cases are climbing among adults between the ages of 40 and 49.
We don't know exactly why that is, but we've been tracking that for, at least over the last 5 years.
This week, the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force lowered the recommended age to start screening for colon and rectal cancers from 50 to 45. Colonoscopies are recommended every 5 years, with stool testing every 1 to 3 years.
And the reason that's important is that's something that insurances, including Medicare and Medicaid, have to adjust to.
That means screenings for an asymptomatic person of average risk in that age group with no prior history of colorectal cancer, history of colon or rectal polyps, and no family history of genetic disorders will now be covered by most private insurance plans with no copay. Dr. Peter Stanich with the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center says it'll save lives.
Both by preventing colon cancer or finding it early enough where the treatment could be as easy as a single surgery.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The task force also recommended selective screening among adults ages 76 to 85 years based on a patient's overall health, prior screening history, and preferences. A new study measures the toll of loneliness for women after menopause. Researchers at UC San Diego studied nearly 60,000 participants over the age of 73. They found the risk of cardiovascular disease was 29% higher for those with high levels of both social isolation and loneliness. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Tanya, let's go to the Skywatch storm tracker where we are getting some pockets there of heavy rain. Now moving toward Cassville, and the last place I know that everybody needs it is in between Monette and Mount Vernon, where up to 4 to 6 inches have already fallen since Monday, and it continues to come down. So if you have to take I-44, say coming out of Joplin, wherever you may be, and head towards Springfield, know that you are going to run into some very, very heavy rain. If you're taking 49 up towards, say, Kansas City or down toward Arkansas, the rain actually is going to lighten up on you as you progress north and south. Our other highways, let's say 69, 400, 54, that's going to be very, very intermittent. No travel concerns, even though we had flooding on 54 earlier this week. We're done with that. We do still have flood warnings for the Neosho, Marmonton, Osage, and Little Osage rivers. We'll be right back.
Ten years after the Joplin tornado, plans for a symbolic landmark move forward. Plus, a Joplin man loses his arm after being hit by a train, and a jury convicts a Quapaw, Oklahoma man accused of posing as a spiritual counselor to sexually abuse minors.
The 4 states most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. You can expect more rain and warmer temps today and into the weekend. Here's Michael with the first look at your forecast.
Yeah, it's not going to be too bad temperature-wise. We're going to go up in the 80s. I'm going to drop our rain percentages here as we progress through the show. Believe it or not, that's what I'm hem-hawing over here about. Now, one thing I'm not hem-hawing about is the fact that heavy rain coming down in the southeastern portion of southwest Missouri, and you have to remember that was the 4 to 6 inches that we picked up earlier this week. And so we're going to be sitting, Tanya, in between Monette and Mount Vernon, we're going to end up with around 6 to 7 inches of rain from Monday through Saturday. And so everybody out there, I don't need to tell you, anybody traveling to that area, I'd avoid it. I just give those people a chance to just kind of get back. Because we've got flooded roads out there, got county highways that are impassable. Things are getting better, but once again, it's just going to be a morning of rain as everything's still moving up from Cassville toward that Monette, Mount Vernon region right there. As we transition into southeast Kansas, it's much more of the scattered variety and no travel concerns on 400, 69, or 54. So that is good news. Now, as Tanya alluded to, it is very comfortable outside, albeit almost a bit humid, if you will. 68 in Joplin, already 70 in Welch and Chanute, and let's roll 69 in Lamar, 68 in Carthage. We're going to make our way up into the mid-70s later on today. So here's what we got rain-wise. Same pattern that we've had pretty much all week long, but wait until early afternoon and evening. Look at this. We are getting a break. Finally. And then for Saturday, reloads a little bit. I'm telling you, all things considered, we're going to keep rain chances in there for Saturday morning, but it's we're finally starting to see a little bit of a break. That's the important part.
That'll be good. Now, will we get a long enough stretch to where, our yards will dry out to where we can get some mowing done? This rain is letting it grow.
Allie Simon, our incomparable producer, is going to want to slaughter me because I'm going to take our time. Dylan, go ahead and pop that bad boy up, if you will. This is why, if you can get to your yard, that's great. Look at that area between Monette and Mount Vernon we were talking about. Here. No, this is the great thing about live television. We can do this. That's right now. It's still raining. That's 6.5 inches of rain.
Where's that recorded?
Monette and
In
Mount
Monette.
Vernon, right here. In you know what? I get better as I do. Right there, okay. Let's roll out in Labette County. Okay.
That's still a lot.
5 inches of rain, right there. I mean, if you can get to it, more power to you. But I think I'd use the past week as an excuse and tell the significant other, be like, oh, it's just too wet out there.
Yeah.
NBA playoffs are on. Guess I'll be waiting for it to dry out.
Problem is, if you wait too long, it just gets taller and thicker and taller and thicker, and then it's tough.
Or you can heed Michael's advice and watch the NBA playoffs and probably watch somebody throw a no-hitter all in the same weekend.
That would be fun. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan, Michael. All right. Tomorrow marks the 10th anniversary of the 2011 Joplin tornado. The community will hold a special day of remembrance to honor the lives lost and the city's recovery. It kicks off Saturday morning with the annual memorial run at Cunningham Park. The half marathon race begins at 6:30 in the morning. Later in the evening at 5:15, the city will hold a program to read the 161 names of loved ones who died in the tornado. That's followed by a moment of silence at 5:41, the time the storm struck. The program will feature speeches from former Missouri Governor Jay Nixon, Mayor Ryan Stanley, and other city officials involved with Joplin's recovery. Plans to remember a post-tornado landmark are moving forward. In 2018, the Spirit Tree, a tribute to the strength and spirit of the community, fell. Shortly after, members of the community started work on a sculpture that would replicate and commemorate the tree. A lot was done until the pandemic hit and other obstacles slowed the process. And now the process is getting ready to start once again.
The Spirit Tree was such a visual impact of inspiration during the One Walk on the 1-year anniversary that I don't want to lose that for our citizens. And as we get older, I want our kids and grandkids to look at that and to hear the story about how we came out of this darkness.
Fundraising efforts will start at the beginning of next year, and Hunt hopes the project will be complete well before the 15th anniversary of the tornado. A special photography exhibit that memorialized the 1-year anniversary of the Joplin tornado makes its return to Joplin's Spiva Center for the Arts as the city prepares to commemorate 10 years since the tornado touched down. It's called Dear World, From Joplin with Love, and features photos of Joplin tornado survivors 1 year after the tornado struck, who agreed to share their stories and pose for some uplifting photographs after talking to Spiva Center staff.
We wanted to have an exhibit that wasn't just about the tornado, but more about being on the other side of it and the stories that people have and kind of where we were at a year later.
The Spiva Center for the Arts Dear World, From Joplin with Love photo exhibit opened on Thursday and will be on display through the 23rd. That includes a special Sunday showing from noon to 5 p.m. In other news, Joplin police say a man is in the hospital after being struck by a train. It happened around 9 Thursday morning. Authorities say a 42-year-old pedestrian was hit by the train at the intersection of Murphy Boulevard and South Wisconsin. They say the man lost an arm. No word on his condition or why he was on the tracks. A Quapaw, Oklahoma man is convicted of sexually abusing a minor and illegally possessing parts of protected eagles. 57-year-old Carl Ortner Jr. was convicted by a federal jury. Authorities say Ortner falsely portrayed himself as a Native American spiritual counselor in order to sexually abuse several Native American minors. Investigators also say they found feathers and various parts of bald eagles and golden eagles, which were illegally possessed at Ortner's home. Sentencing is scheduled for September 30th. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, above and beyond the call of duty.
President Biden will award his first Medal of Honor today. I'm Laura Podesta with details on the recipient and his courageous act during the Korean War.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About, we're asking, should teens trade on the stock market? We let you weigh in. But first, it's 6:37.
Rain dominating southwest Missouri on our Friday morning, and especially just on the south side of I-44. Know that if you're going to be on the interstate, you are going to run into some very heavy rain. Watches and warnings, not countywide, but it is the Neosho, Little Osage, and Marmonton rivers until the weekend. Be back with Nation Watch next.
Hey, folks.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, today President Biden will award his first Medal of Honor to Colonel Ralph Puckett. CBS News' Laura Podesta reports on Puckett's heroic conduct throughout the Korean War.
He distinguished himself by acts of gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty, reads a statement from the White House about upcoming Medal of Honor recipient Colonel Ralph Puckett. Today, the 94-year-old will receive the nation's highest military honor. The award acknowledges his actions during the Korean War in November 1950, when he risked his life 3 times running into an open area to distract Chinese forces attacking his platoon.
There's nothing Ranger special in what we did in the defense of that, of attacking and defending Hill 205. It was just pure infantry warfare, close hand.
Retired Sergeant Merle Simpson was there with Puckett on that freezing November night.
There's no doubt in my mind that he deserves that.
Puckett is often referred to as the father of the modern Rangers, the Army's most elite soldiers. In an interview, he said he was surprised to be selected as a Medal of Honor recipient, but is glad it acknowledges his Ranger comrades.
I certainly felt that my Rangers deserved recognition and that kind of award for what they had done.
After the battle, Puckett was awarded the military's second highest honor for valor, the Distinguished Service Cross. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Very deserving. Puckett also served in the Vietnam War before retiring in 1971. South Korea's President Moon Jae-in will be in attendance at today's ceremony. That's a look at today's top national story. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, the company Fidelity, well, it's joined a growing list of investment groups allowing teenagers to trade stocks. Here's the catch. Teenagers are allowed to trade them for free. Move comes as more young people enter the stock market, and Congress is currently scrutinizing investment apps and their business models. So the account is free and will allow teens to buy and sell stocks, ETFs, and mutual funds. Our question to you is, should teens even trade on the stock market? I find it very interesting. It's 77% of you say no, they should not be trading on the stock market. You can make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Sergeant Dale Britt, who served in the United States Air Force from 1964 to 1966, serving in Vietnam. His hometown, Iola, Kansas. We are proud to salute Dale Britt, our four-state hero.
You know, Tanya, you and I we've done this with our kids, and you know, you go through that book of names and as leading up to it, and you're trying to figure out. I love this right here, Swayze. That's fabulous. That's so cool right there. Swayze Hines turning 6 years old. Swayze, number one, a happy birthday. Number two, you have one of the coolest names around. That's tremendous. And she's celebrating in Anderson. Have a great day, kiddo.
Michael is really curious of where Swayze came from, where you got that. So be sure to send him a message through social media on Facebook Messenger and let him know.
I'll get right on that. That dog looks like one of the Huskies. Swayze, number one, Swayze, here's the deal. I want to know the background of your name because I think it's awesome. Number two, I want to know the background of your dog because I think I recognize that from someplace.
All right, moving along. Happy birthday, Swayze. Happy birthday to Easton Dunlap, who's now 7 strong. Easton is in Irma,
He's in armor, but he's geared up in royal stuff. I love that. Good pick, kid. Daxon, speaking of cool names, Speaking of cool names and a well-dressed man, Daxon Burns celebrating his 8th birthday in St. Paul. And Daxon, a very happy birthday from Grandma and Grandpa.
Got a little belated birthday wish going out to Miss Callie Oakley, who's now 9 years old in Fairland, Oklahoma.
Let's get to double digits. Callie, you're going to be there next year. But Miley Mooney, she is now 10 years old. Miley, a very happy birthday to you. She is celebrating in Parsons.
And Miss Maddie Reed, turning 10 years old this year. Hope you had a great birthday yesterday, Maddie.
Yeah, go ahead, because it's going to be a busy weekend at the Reed household.
Yeah, I bet they're partying all weekend long, because if it was Maddie's birthday yesterday, it was also her older brother Wyatt's birthday. And Wyatt is 12 this year.
I think the best part was the look on Tanya's face as she was going through the list, and she was like, wait. That was great. Happy birthday to both to Maddie and Wyatt. That's great. Aiden Williams is now 11 years old. A very happy birthday to Aiden. And this comes with love from Mom, Chris, Robert, and Addie. Aiden's in Girard.
Let's see. Tanner Straith is now a teenager. Welcome to the teenagers. 13 years old in Erie, Kansas. Happy birthday, Tanner.
And Taylor Mahan, now 18 years old. Hey, congratulations. Great looking graduation outfit right there, Taylor. He's turning the big 18 in Altamont, and this comes with love from your mom.
And Shelby Norfolese is 29 years old this year. What a beautiful picture there of Shelby in Carl Junction. Birthday wishes coming from Remy, Coda, and Gypsy.
Kayla Morgan, a happy 33rd birthday to you. That is, as much as our news director hates this phrase, that is literally having your hands full. Happy birthday, Caleb in Carthage.
All right, Courtney Luther Smith is 36 years old this year. Happy birthday to Courtney in Nevada.
The Born Identity?
Yeah.
No, the Born Identity.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The Born Identity.
Scott Bourne celebrating. That's all right.
Man, that was the worst joke known to man because everybody had to wait for it. What do we have there? What is that?
Looks like a fish.
Oh, it's my eye. I know, it's my eyesight. Hold on.
What kind of fish is that?
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Do you know, Michael?
No, I don't. Scott, do me a favor and Facebook message Tanya and let us know what kind of fish that is, because that is cool as can be. Wow. No, that's great.
The fin on the top looks like that.
Here,
I want to see what its teeth
you
look
take
like.
his location there because I had to get up and.
Okay, Scott is in Girard, but I don't think he caught that fish in Girard. I'd like to know where it was caught too.
He didn't catch that up at Franklin. If he did, Scott, you're taking me fishing.
I don't want to swim there anymore either.
Let's run out to Thayer because Jennifer Bauer has a 51st birthday. I tell you what, Jennifer, I guarantee that little one's not spoiled, is he now? Because he's a sharp-dressed dude as well. Jennifer, a happy 51st in Thayer.
And Marcia Payne celebrating birthday number 56 this year. Hope you have a great one, Marcia.
Out of the First Baptist Church of Crestline, Pastor Paul Duncan celebrating number 68. Paul, a very happy birthday to you.
Gary Wells turning 72 years old this year. Hope it's a great one for you, Mr. Wells.
And Ron Olson, a happy 84th birthday. And I'm left with this note alone. It says, Ron, happy birthday, love, your wife. I don't know if it's that love, comma, your wife, like it comes from him, or whether it's demand. Ron, love your wife.
Remember.
6-1 half dozen.
Little both.
That's right.
All right, I'm sure he does. And Justin McCready in Shoot. Oh, that's a Friday picture.
No, that is Justin.
One
no,
ever.
that's Justin in the heart right there. It's been a long time since I've seen that dude, but that's good.
Man,
that is good.
That is a funny picture.
That's awesome.
I love it, love it, love it, love it. And also in Chanute celebrating, Gail Stork. Happy birthday. What a great picture there, Gail.
Ryan and Amy Dooley, they're celebrating their 5th anniversary. Congratulations. That's quite a dichotomy of t-shirts that we have there, with Atlanta Braves for Amy and Texas Longhorns for Ryan. But you know what? Whatever makes a marriage work. And congratulations on your 5th anniversary as the Dooleys are in Carl Junction.
Hey, at least they're not two professional teams competing. You got collegiate and professional, so you can do that.
Ryan, you come around sometime, you and I will sing the Eyes of Texas Are Upon Us.
All right, we've got, oh, look whose anniversary it is. Galen and Rhonda Zook are celebrating 39 years this weekend.
So Rhonda, here, a little background, we'll peel back the curtain. Rhonda's the one that takes care of us here at the station. Technically, human resources, but let's talk about what she actually does. She's like our mom because she takes care of us.
We like it when we get sent to HR.
This is what Rhonda does. and then she's got to take care of Galen. And here's why it's crazy that because Galen actually let me ride a souped up tractor one time. Yes. And if he let me do that, you know Rhonda's got to take care of him too. And Galen, you know I love you too. But yeah, so Rhonda has her hands full, and congratulations to the Zook family. They've got kids, they've got grandkids. They're so important to this community and so important to this station. So congratulations to both Galen and Rhonda. And Rhonda, I'll see you here a little bit later. And this is why I love this day, because that dude right there. Oh, I mean.
All right, so.
You want to go?
Miss Stephanie Marsh, she's our assignment editor, but she's also a very, 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 very good friend. Worked here for so many years with her. She makes our newsroom go round and round. We wouldn't have a newscast in the evening if it wasn't for this lady right here. She does so much work behind the scenes. Need to give her credit where credit is due, for sure.
I'm just going to leave it with, you know how much we love you.
Yes.
You know, well, if I tell you what, if you don't know how much we love you, then we're not doing our job. Love you, kid.
Love her at work, love her outside of work, love her all the way around.
All right,
Happy
let me get my
birthday,
stuff together
Stephanie.
here.
I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day tomorrow. I'm not going to give away your age, but it's a very special one this year. That's right.
Help me out. Do the first 3. I'll get the last 3.
Okay. So we've got Bill and Carolyn Sisson celebrating their 60th anniversary. They're in Mapleton, Kansas. Congratulations to the Sissons. Jeff Crane in Columbus, happy birthday. We're going to go all the way up to Pickaway, Kansas to celebrate number 38 with Donald Kidd Jr.
All right, let's go. Lisa Johnson, a happy 54th birthday to you. Miss Lisa, she is celebrating in Thayer. We want a trip to Big Ed's. You know we always do. Dallas and Donna McCoy, congratulations on your 48th anniversary. I'll get there. Hang on tape. Congratulations on your 48th anniversary. They're in Erie. And Carla and Mark Howerton, they're celebrating their 11th anniversary in Carthage. And a happy birthday and happy anniversary to everyone. We'll be right back and wrap this up right after this.